Hello and thanks for checking in once again with Crossroads here on Big Centre TV. Now you're checking in at a good time this week because we're actually devoting the whole of the second half of today's show to part of an episode of Crossroads which hasn't been broadcast on TV for over 40 years. I'll tell you more about that very shortly. But what that means is that our regular look ahead to next week's episodes is coming up almost straight away. And so the next part of our chat with Jane Rossington, as well as the next in John Drury's series of filming location features, are moving back to next week and then the week after. Now just a quick reminder though, if you're enjoying Crossroads again here on Big Centre TV, or if you have a fond memory of it from back in the day, or even if you managed to record one of the shows on your early video recorder during the 70s or early 80s, then do get in touch. On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you can look us up at Big Centre TV, email us via crossroads@bigcentre.tv, and for a proper letter, just write this on your envelope. Crossroads check-in, Big Centre TV, 14A, Lower Hall Lane, Walsall, WS1 1RL. Right, time for a quick look ahead to what we can expect during the coming week's episodes of Crossroads here on Big Centre TV. And as ever, do remember that there are probably some potential spoilers ahead. Now, what we got coming up first? Well, episode 2014 is from November 1973. In a fit of guilt, David offers Mrs. Bullock the job as his new housekeeper. Jill and Stan become frantic when Sheila doesn't return home with the baby at the agreed time.
Sorry I'm late, but...
Where the hell have you been?
Well, I've been over to Bernice to show her the baby. I'll get her ready for a bath. What's the matter? I fed her. I didn't drop her on her head or anything.
Don't be so flaming funny.
Look, I've said I'm sorry, Stan, for being a bit late.
A bit late? You called 2 hours a bit late. Me and Jill, we've been going frantic. I was just about to call the police.
Oh, Stan, we were only talking.
I believe you did it on purpose.
Oh, don't be stupid. I haven't got my watch on. How was I to know what time it was?
You called on Bernice?
Yes, I said so.
At the house?
Of course.
Haven't they got clocks in their house?
So I knew I was going to be a little bit late. But I wanted to spend more time with the baby. Where's the harm?
I'm sorry, Sheila, but you've got to understand that me and Jill were going spare. Quite honestly, I think you're seeing far too much of the bab.
What do you mean?
Well, it's every day now, ain't it? Twice yesterday. You've had it all afternoon and most of the evening. We'd just like some time together, me, Jill and the baby.
If that's the way you feel, I shan't be coming here again.
Sheila!
Episode 2015 is from November 1973. A tall, dark and handsome stranger arrives at the motel looking for Meg. Meanwhile, disillusioned with Kings Oak generally, and Stan and Jill in particular, Sheila decides to try and get a job away from the district.
I wondered where you got to.
Got to?
I thought you said you were only going to be away for 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked your permission for the extra half an hour.
I didn't mean that, Sheila.
Oh, I know.
Suppose you and me go over to see Jill and Stan tonight.
I've told you before, I wouldn't be seen dead in that flat.
Stan didn't mean you wasn't to see the baby.
I know what Stan meant.
He was upset.
Upset enough to tell the truth. Jill's the same. They resent me going over there, holding the baby. Well, now I know. I'm going to keep right out of their lives. Just like they want me to.
Episode 2018 is from November 1973. Vince and Diane get drunk on sherry. Vince gets frisky, but Diane's not so keen. But it's a situation which soon erupts into a major domestic argument. Jill and Stan are kept awake at night by the baby's restlessness, and Meg talks things over with Sandy.
I mean, unless Sheila's actually hitting Roy over the head with a chair, Wilf will think it must be love.
Mm. Yeah, but I'm not just taking Wilf's word for it. Roy saw the baby being born. Had a dramatic effect on him. On both of them, if you ask me.
Well, I suppose they do hit it off. I mean, suppose they even get married, so what? I don't answer that.
No, it sticks out a mile, doesn't it? What about the baby? What about Jill and Stan?
Well, it might never happen. Most of the things we worry about never do.
Well, I couldn't interfere. I wouldn't. But somebody's going to get hurt.
Episode 2028 is from December 1973. Jane interrupts a barefoot Sandy conducting an imaginary orchestra. And after extensive hospital tests for the seriously ill Amy, everyone finally discovers what's wrong with her.
Say they've discovered what's wrong with Amy.
At last? What is it?
It's malaria.
Malaria?
Hey, that's what you get from mosquitoes, isn't it?
Yeah, she's had it all these weeks since she came back from that holiday in Africa.
Poor old Amy. I hate to say this, but she should have taken my advice.
What advice was that, Miss Tatum?
Well, you know, when she came back, she had a headache and a cold. I remember when she came to the post office with my present, I advised her to go and see Dr. Wickham. They tell you to, you know. They give you a yellow card when you step off the plane.
Maybe she didn't read it.
Well, that's a fine thing. I hope we don't spend our lives handing out forms for people not to read.
But Miss Tatum, if you told Amy to go and see a doctor, why didn't you mention this when she became so ill?
But, Mrs. Whitten, this was weeks ago, and she swore that it was only a headache and a cold. Who's to remember all this time?
Well, it's lucky I managed to, isn't it?
Episode 2173 is from August 1974, and it's a packed one. Diane is alarmed about Vince's allegations. Vera returns to find that she's moved out. Wilf Harvey and Myrtle quarrel. Jill is in hospital about to give birth, and Cliff Layton leaves the motel and asks Diane to go with him. Funny, he looks just like Mike Baldwin to me.
I just popped over to say goodbye.
Goodbye?
Yeah, I'm flying out tonight.
It's a bit sudden, isn't it?
Been a change of plans. Sorry to see me go, eh?
Well, of course I am, you know that.
Go on then, be a devil and come with me.
I've had enough madness for once in my life. I think it's time I settle down.
It's worth a try, wasn't it?
I won't be blaming you for anything. You've been very good to me. I won't forget it.
Don't know if I'll forget it either.
Episode 2174 is from August 1974. Wilf is being pestered by Myrtle to change pubs, and it's not long before Myrtle and Amy indulge in some barbed conversation. A newly returned Vince is shocked to find out that Diane is about to get married, and Vera's still having trouble.
Vera?
Vince!
You look surprised to see me. What's the matter? Didn't Diane tell you I was back?
Oh, yes, she told me, but I was expecting... Hey, it's quite a coincidence. Us coming back at the same time. Almost like Old Home Week.
Yes, except that there is nothing old about this home, Vera. It's brand new, top of the market. She's done very well for herself, hasn't she?
I thought I told you I didn't want to see you again.
Well, that's just hard luck, love, because you're going to have to, whether you want to or not.
Of all the thick-skinned people, you...
What about you, Vera? What does it feel like to be back?
In fact, I'm just beginning to find out what's been going on at the salon while my back was turned. I'm on my way there right now. Mr. Maurice?
Ah, good evening, madame.
I'm Vera Downend.
Ah, yes. I heard you were back.
Well, I'll be taking over as from tomorrow.
No.
So there you go, that's all to come on Crossroads, right here on Big Centre TV every night at 9. Now you'll have noticed that there's quite a gap between two of the episodes scheduled for this week. Episode 2028 was made at the end of 1973, and episode 2173 was made in August 1974. That's 9 whole months in which no episodes exist. Or so we thought until recently. Now, Big Centre is part of Kaleidoscope, the Archive Television Society, and one of the things that they do is look for and recover missing episodes of TV shows. Now, as we've said before, there are so many episodes from popular TV shows which don't exist in the archives anymore. That's why I mentioned earlier, if you or someone you know was recording Crossroads or any other TV show for that matter back in the 1970s, then do get in touch with us, because it's just possible you might have something quite rare. Anyway, fairly recently, Kaleidoscope managed to get hold of an old video cassette, and when they played it on this very machine, it's quite heavy, guess what was on there? It was an episode of Crossroads. Quite nice, actually. It was only the first part of an episode, but nevertheless, when they compared it against the official archives, they discovered that it was broadcast around the 9th of May 1974, right in the middle of the period where no other episodes exist. And so, after the break, that's what you're going to see, with a very special introduction. Unfortunately, it's only part 1 for now, but if anyone knows where part 2 is, and you know where we are, better get rid of this. It's really heavy. Anyway, that's about it from me, but I'll be back again at the same time next week with all the usual bits and pieces. So don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, look us up on social media at Big Centre TV. Email crossroads@bigcentre.tv or write to us, Crossroads Check-in, Big Centre TV, 14A, Lower Hall Lane, Walsall, WS1 1RL. Thanks for checking in with Crossroads. Crossroads Oh, hello, Jane. You got the tape with you? Good-o. You'll be here in a couple of minutes. Fine. OK, I'll tell them. Right, she'll be here with the episode after the break. I'll see you next week.
Hello, welcome back to the Crossroads Motel. Now, here on Big Centre TV, it's time for something very special indeed. It's part of a missing episode of Crossroads that hasn't been broadcast on TV for over 41 years. So why not relax and transport yourself all the way back to tea time on Thursday, the 9th of May, 1974.
Come on in, Myrtle.
Oh, hello, Sid. Where's Wilf?
Out in the loft. He won't be a minute.
Oh, well, I better pop out and see him. I can't stay too long.
Funny how we keep meeting like this, isn't it?
Yes.
We must be star-crossed lovers.
What sort of daft thing is that to say? Hello, Myrtle.
Hello, Wilf. I didn't know you'd be so busy.
Neither did I. Sid's just going now.
I thought we was going to talk about me missing pigeon.
Talking won't bring it back, and it ain't in the loft.
What's his pigeon doing in your loft?
It was one I swapped with Wilf.
Oh.
Yes. Well, I suppose I better be going. See you later, Wilf. Myrtle.
Hope the bird turns up, Sid. Time for a cuppa.
I'll put the kettle on.
Ow!
I'm sorry.
It's all right, Miss Strancher. I can stand it.
Can you move the toes? Now, just try.
Only just.
I'm not surprised. You've got him trussed up like an Egyptian mummy.
You can't be too careful with this sort of thing, Meg.
You're right. It's very painful.
Well, perhaps we ought to send him to the hospital.
Oh, no. No, don't bother. It'll go off soon.
Oh, of course it will. You'll live with luck.
Yeah, don't worry about me, Miss Strancher. I've survived worse.
Yeah, well, you take it easy for the rest of the day, hmm? No lifting heavy loads and no driving that van. You better go into the staff room and rest for a couple of hours. I'll have your lunch sent through to you.
If you say so, Mr. Hunter.
I hope he'll be all right.
Oh, David, what's the matter with you? Of course he'll be all right. It's all this fuss over a simple accident.
You, don't believe in the power of the leaves, do you?
Certainly not any more than you do. Why?
Well, last night, Mrs. Bullock made a remark which so incensed me, I agreed to her giving me a reading.
Your teacup? You?
Now, before you laugh, just listen. I managed to switch cups. Gave her Martin's. And now 2 of the things that she said would happen have happened. To Martin.
And it was his cup?
Yes.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Even given the possibility that Mrs. Bullock could foresee the future.
I feel I should warn him. Tell him that it was his future she predicted and not mine.
You're being silly.
Mrs. Bullock said 2 things would happen. An illness and an accident. Now, they've both happened in one day to Martin.
Coincidence.
Is it? I'm not letting him drive that van until it's been thoroughly overhauled.
Now,
The last thing she warned me about was trouble with a car. Something to do with the front wheels.
Do you really think it's possible?
Well, I don't know. I'm not taking any chances.
All right. I'll phone Tom Cook at the garage and get him to check the tires.
Good morning. Morning.
Hello, Charlie.
Is Sandy around?
Yes, in the sitting room. Bruce. No, never mind. No, I'll probably see you later. What's the point? You'd have only told us that we're both raving mad. All right, I'll go and phone Tom Cook now.
I got your message, Sandy. I thought I'd pop in. What's the problem?
I'm worried about Julie.
Why? What's happened?
She's got a very nasty bruise on her face.
Oh, she's had nursing experience before.
It's
She'll know
not
what's...
the bruise so much, it's the way she got it that worries me.
How did she get it?
Well, she says she tripped over in the bathroom and hit her head on the door, but in my opinion, Trevor hit her.
Opinion?
Well, there's been some gossip which I wouldn't altogether discount. There might be some truth in it.
Well, even so, Sandy, it's not
Yeah,
wise
I know, but I went round to see her, made up some excuse, tried to draw her out, but she wasn't having any. She's covering up, there's no doubt about it.
You're not imagining it.
Well, I had a row, that's for certain. A couple of the guests complained about the shouting. Julie said it was a small tiff.
Poor Julie.
You say that as if you know something, don't you?
He's hit her before. That's why she left him.
But I thought they were so much in love.
I think they are.
Well, what is it then? Some kind of wife-beating nutcase?
No, it's a kind of sickness. He doesn't get drunk, so... Well, obviously, he has some sort of deep inadequacy that he may or may not be aware of, but what? I don't know. I'm not his doctor.
But what you're saying is that he's quite likely to hit her again.
Probably.
So what's to be done?
Not very much, I'm afraid. Unless Julie or her husband ask to be helped.
Well, you're not serious. You mean we do nothing?
This is between a man and his wife.
And that's it?
Well, there's one or two things Julie could do, but it's up to her. I mean, she can't be forced to.
You realize this could end in tragedy?
I know.
I mean, he could kill her for Pete's sake. I don't mean intentionally, but if he hit her and she fell over...
Sally, you don't have to tell me. I'm well aware of it. Look, I feel as badly about this as you do, probably more.
Well, one thing's for certain. If it's like you say it is, there's no answer. She wouldn't say a word against him.
Just off?
Mm-hmm. In a minute.
You heard from the garage?
Yes, yes. According to Tom, the tyres on Martin's van are well within the legal requirements.
Ah, well, that's reassuring. Did you check the wheels?
Yep. Nothing wrong there.
Oh, well, David, don't worry. You just put it down to coincidence.
It's all just a bit too coincidental for my liking.
Well, you've done all you can.
Except to stop Martin using that van.
Look, I'm sorry, David, but I just don't believe that Mrs. Bullock can foretell the future.
Meg, I would have agreed with you. But 2 out of 3 of the things that she predicted have come true. We just have to wait and see what happens next.
Back you are, Sheil.
Yes? That smells good, Dad.
I thought I'd cook it to you, seeing it's been your first day at work.
Oh, we're starving.
Oh, well, don't expect me to make a habit of it.
How's Susan?
Oh, she's great. Fine. How did you get on?
Oh, it was great. It's really smashing fun. Well, at least I enjoyed it.
It's a natural, great sales technique.
He left us on our own almost as soon as we got there.
Well, like you said, in at the deep end's the best way.
Mike's got a good spot. It's away from the main body of the market, but right on the edge of a pedestrian thoroughfare.
Well, my stall's not always there, you know. I mean, the market works on a daily basis, first come, first served.
Oh.
Each stall has to be rented each morning, and the man who's used that site most regular gets priority.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I shall have to see the market supervisor pretty early tomorrow morning to get that site again.
You mean if somebody gets there early who's had the stall more often than you have, then he gets the stall?
That's how it works.
Well, could you take on a different stall, then?
Well, if there's one available and nobody else wants it.
That's a funny way to go on.
Oh, it's pretty fair, really. Providing you don't mind getting up early in the morning.
How early?
5 o'clock.
Oh, no.
You're soft, you youngsters of today. Do you know I can get up at 4 o'clock every morning without any trouble?
You offering, Dad?
And who's going to look after Susan if I go to Birmingham every day?
It's okay, love. Nothing to get alarmed about. There's been a bit of an accident down the lane. This gentleman's car skidded into a ditch. He says he lives here.
Mr. Hunter.
Don't worry, Mrs. Bullock. I'm perfectly all right.
Go on, sir, I'll give you a hand.
Is he hurt bad?
I'm not hurt at all. Now stop fussing.
Oh, it's just the odd bruise here and there. He'll be okay in the morning. I should get those tyres seen to if I were you, sir. Shocking condition. Asking for it, you will.
Yes, I'll do that.
Well, lucky it was us following you down the lane and not the police. Well, good night. Nice hot bath, strong cup of tea. It'll be as good as new.
Good night, and thank you very much for all you've done.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
That's okay. All in a day's work.
Coincidence. And that's all.
You know best, Mr. Hunter.
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. I'll tell you something. That cup you read last night.
Oh, I didn't see anything about the car in the cup, Mr. Hunter.
What?
No. The injury to the foot and the illness, they were in the leaves. Yes, that was right. But the trouble with the car, I read that in your hand. Shall I run a bath for you?
I am perfectly capable of running my own.
Oh, something wrong with your foot, Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
I'll see if I can find a walking stick then.